Welcome to my mod load order for PS5 or PS4. It doesn't matter, I think. I want to make it as quick as possible because I know how tedious it can be to make these load orders and make them working and everything. Now, what you will see now is the experience of modding Skyrim on PS4 and PS5 over years and finding the mods that suits my playstyle the best. I don't have reached the 100 because there are always mods like player homes or specific weapons or recolors like the recolor mod. If you say you don't want a katana pack and you don't want this, you can let that out and put a different weapon pack there. You know, a different recolored set or something like that. Without further ado, let's just get started with the unofficial Skyrim Special Edition. I am using still this Special Edition because the anniversary doesn't have compatibility, I think that's the right word for it, yeah, for all mods that are out and, you know, been improved over all these years. After that, I put the Magic Overhauls mod. Now, there are other mods further down, and I will explain why I put them there. You see, the further you put a mod down in the list, it overrides the already existent one. Like, that's why you have to load part 1 and then part 2. If you put part 2 before 1, there will be an issue. Mysticism, one of the most famous mods I think there's out there. This one is a new one. It overhauls the complete Bard College and you actually get stuff and good things from it, and, you know, a commission chest which will respawn every 10 days, default with new requests from patrons all over Tamriel, giving bards something to do. You know, you can just join now the Bardic College. You can be whoever you want to be with my little load order. And it's more based on a fantasy realism world, not as much on a fantasy overpowered build version. Like, you can be overpowered with this load order. If you do it correctly, you can do it like with any other game. You can, you know, cheat your way through everything, but it's really hard because even if you play on adept or novice, the enemies, because of the combat overalls, there are, I think, 3 or 4 different combat overalls I have in there that will change the whole style of you playing the game. I guarantee you, if you download this load order and do the exact same thing, it doesn't feel like the Skyrim you know. Guarantee you that one. Haste, who doesn't know it, it's necessary. Blink, teleportation, it's a funny little spell, you know, and the higher your alteration or conjuration goes, the farther you can teleport. Like, okay, I can't reach this. Okay, I want to go on that rooftop, and you know, you can all do that now. You can just teleport yourself wherever you're pointing at. The big jump, I usually only use the 2 times. The 3 times is only for either vampire builds or Khajiit builds or something like that, where jumping higher actually makes sense. The normal jump height is too low in my opinion, and if I'm playing an Imperial or something like that, I use the 2 times jump. Lore-based loading screens, enhanced draw distance, the trees. You won't see like a blank space in the distance anymore. You know what I mean? Like, if you see in the distance in Skyrim and the original version vanilla, there's sometimes like trees, and then the trees stop to exist, and if you get closer they just pop out of nowhere. That fixes that. Epic crispy graphics. There are many graphic mods, but I use the epic crispy graphic mods. I use different kinds of mods and all combined give a unique flair to it. That is the second one I use. It's a combination of different kinds of weather mods. Asteroid, Wanderer, Mythical Ages, and all of that. In the end, it's up to you what you put here. That is just a graphic mod, and that is a weather mod. Now, there are many different weathers in there, new weathers. The fog is denser, the water is better. Like, you don't have to install another water mod or something like that. This mod covers everything from new god race to, yeah, basically everything, because it's one, two, three mods in one, plus the water mod, plus. You know where I'm going with that. It's one of the best mods out there, and if you like another one, that's okay too, because I use Surreal Lightning and Mythical Ages quite some time, but then this came out and it just took over my gaming heart. Vampire Knights. You know, because of Dawnguard and everything, he tells you about the vampires, and you actually have the thing. Like, listen, I don't see any vampires. Like, there isn't any vampire threat. With that, there is a vampire threat and plenty new NPC followers, 6 new spells, new enemies, and so on. More blood and gore. Simple. Combat sound, attack, impact, blah blah blah. Fixes the sound for combat, and it's simple to understand these simple things. That's the same for the Fenderix magic thing, because some spells like light spells, which is perfect for paladin build, have a very annoying sound to it, and that fixes it. Music of Tamriel, one of the best music things out there, because it puts tracks from the DLC into the normal game and makes the game more alive. Ancient Land. Now we're coming to the buildings, landmarks, big things in the world. Ancient Land, interesting roads. Ancient Land makes big objects, more objects that don't have lots in vanilla set, so they are seen from a distance. You can see them from a distance, these giant statues and everything. It makes Skyrim more alive, and like in Oblivion you have had these island ruins everywhere lying around and these megalithic structures somewhere. It's resembling that a little bit. Interesting roads makes the road more interesting. Immersive fallen trees. You ever wanted to go across a river and, balance yourself over a tree? Now you can. Simply more trees adds simply more trees. Lanterns of Skyrim adds lanterns around the world, so it isn't as dark as it was before on the main roads. Point the way. Easy explained. It points the way to your next direction if you don't want to use the map. Now, these are the big city mods. And there are many different city mods out there. I chose the JK's Skyrim compatible pack for the great cities. Then Bridges of Skyrim, because the standard bridges are meh compared to these. Solitude Underarch adds a little city under Solitude, like little few more houses and shops, and it makes sense for Solitude to be a bit bigger than it actually is in the game, so they couldn't make the city above bigger, so they made it below bigger. That's the Underarch. Master the Summit doesn't do really much, it just puts a few of these climbing traverse stairs. I don't know. You don't have to walk all the way around a mountain. There are a few specific spots. 2 or 3 of them are marked on the map, which you can instantly fast travel to, but there are some that aren't marked and everything, and you can just walk up that cliff or down that cliff and don't have to, spend time looking for a way up or down. Magical College of Winterhold makes the Winterhold College a good place to be in before Well, the vanilla is so boring. Hold capitals, towns. It adds the towns and villages that you could visit in Arena into Skyrim. Deus Mons, the castle of Mirak. Yeah, Mirak himself, right. I use that always as a little. I use this always as my end player home. Because after I killed Mirak, I should take over his castle and be the Dragonborn and rule over all of Tamriel, you know? So, Proud Spire Manor, you can, like I said, with these player homes, these are the player homes I use right now, but you can put anything into this place, or you can let out other things. You just have to put it in the same order as I do, specifically the perks and magicka and all these things. If you don't put them in that order, up here, all these kinds of different things, and they need all to be up here. The sound and all of that, it needs all to be up there, otherwise it won't work, okay? Like, it needs to be up there, otherwise it will fuck everything up and you can't even start a new game. Okay, so some mods really have to be put into the place they are in this load order. Some people say, no, you have to put all the big building things far down. No, with this load order, you have to do it this way. Otherwise, it won't work. Just trust me on that one. I built that load order over months, okay? I didn't play Skyrim. I worked on that load order, so it will work in the end. I will have a great experience. Then I played it a little bit on the PS4 and, well, copied now on the PS5 and play tested it for like 1 or 2 hours, and it didn't crash or anything, so we should be good. I will also make a little gameplay trailer after I got enough gameplay of it, so you see the extent of this load order. Let's get back to it. Modified inns and towns makes the inns in cities and towns better looking. Relocate NPC. I don't have that activated yet, because if you activate it, every NPC has this conversation option where you can relocate them. It works in a specific way. There's a full description and everything, YouTube, blah blah blah. So I won't have to do a tutorial, you know. But I let that deactivated as long as I don't want to move an NPC. Like sometimes I want like a guard or something like that moved to a specific place, and I can just relocate them with that mod and it will do this thing. Or you can say, listen, Jarl Balgroove, you're living now in Solitude, and then he will walk up there. You know, you can do stuff like that, but it's a little bit game breaking. And if you do it with quest related NPCs, they will completely bug out and everything. And if you have player homes with guards, since they treat everything as an enemy, they will attack the NPCs you send to them. So yeah, you can send Nassim there or something like that. Hearthfire homes makes the Hearthfire homes usable. Before that, they weren't usable because you couldn't just leave something in your shiny little vitrines and display cases where you place a dagger down and you come back after a few weeks of in-game traveling and all your stuff just disappeared. That fixes that. Weapons and armor mod. This is just a tiny bit of a really big mod, but it doesn't work in the load order I'm using right now. The big one. There are two other versions. One with white run, and one without. Like their white run is completely overhauled and everything, and the guards are replaced and new NPCs, and the whole blades everything is back up and going, and the temple and everything, the Akaviri temple with the blades, where you go in the main quest and everything's fucked up and ruined, and it fixes that. It makes it beautiful up there, but it won't work in that load order. So I just use the weapons and armor mod. From this mod, it basically puts every weapon or armor that is used in that mod into a specific location that you can travel to. It's near Whiterun. You can just go in there. The enemies aren't that strong, and then you can just trade with that little old fellow there, and he has some pretty nice stuff. It's a good weapon and armor compilation mod, in my opinion. Like the recolors and everything there are recolors from the Elven, the Dark Brotherhood, the Blade armor, Dawn God armor. There are many recolors in there. Retexture shop. That puts a shop in Solitude where you can fast travel to at any time. It's a good recolor mod. Elemental archery. This mod adds 8 elemental themed and summon-able bows to the game. So they are themed, you can equip them like normal bows, or you can summon them. And they all have their own effect and everything. Firebow deals fire damage, and frost, and so on. Helmets with hooded side capes. You ever thought about how awesome it would be to put just the hood over your helmet? That mod does that. It puts a little chest into Valkyrie. You can go there, and there are masks. There are all kinds of different versions of helmets with hoods in all different colors, and one of the best armor mods. Spear weapons. Now, we don't have spears in Skyrim. The Reeklings do. With that, we can have something of a similar experience, though they just will be used as a one or two-handed weapon. Mostly there are two-handed, I think. I think they're all two-handed, but it doesn't matter. And there are unique spears all across Skyrim with nice effects on them. And even throwing spears, and yeah. Civil War champion capes. Now, if you don't have the Creation Club things, I have, because I don't know, some may don't have them. You can't have this. You can't have these capes. You can't have these cloaks. Adventurer weapon pack V1. There is a version 2 with magic stuff, but I have enough other magic stuff. I don't want this. I just use this. Multiple rings. Sometimes it works. I haven't tested that one out yet. If it doesn't work where I put it now, you have to put it in a different location, because all these mods get different updates and all that, and sometimes it messes it up. Sometimes you have to put a mod further down, sometimes higher up. It all depends on the update and on the version you play on, and so on and so on. I want to put it as simple as possible, but creating a load order on the PS5 and so on is more complicated than on PC. Like, I remember modding Oblivion back then when I still had a PC. It was way easier. It was way easier. Modding is so easier on PC. But anyway, poses and magical instruments, actions, and so on. What this will do will put a little chest near these 3 first guiding standing stones, whatever. And these are basically powers. There is another mod where you can use like rings to activate certain emotes and actions and all that. If you want to role play and like do something, or walk around and talk, you can just equip that, press your power button where you normally shout or something like that, and then he walks around and talks, or I don't know, sits down and does a certain pose. All the other NPCs, when they're talking or something like that, they move with their whole body. You don't, and you fix that with that. you have to still put it manually and all that. It's a little bit complicated, but after a while you get used to it. It took me like maybe 2 or 3 hours after I first installed this mod to get used to it, that I have to go in there and, you know, like just favorite them, the ones you like, and then use them whenever you want to use thing, like look into the distance or hug someone, or I don't know. It's nice to role play with that. The kill move. Some use big, I use violence because big doesn't work with the combat overall mods I use. Violence works, the big one doesn't work. You must die too, combat overall. Comes close to a good old-fashioned RPG thing where you really have to look what you're doing. And if you compare that with another mod, that if you drink a potion, you drink a potion. Like, your character will do an animation where he drinks the potion, like in Dark Souls or something like that. And then you can't hit, okay? You can't hit. And for that to end, you have to equip the weapon again. Otherwise, it will. You stand there and hang there in the animation that already ended, and you can't hit. As soon as you drink a potion, it goes into the animation. You can see that in third person, as also in first person. You will actually see him put something in your face, and then you know, okay, I don't have my weapon equipped anymore because he drank just a potion. Makes sense, somehow. Immersive realism. Archery makes archery realistic. Warrior powers. Do you know the powers like, you know, ESO, Mass Effect, Dragon Age like powers, and you can buy them from vendors? There are many nice powers in there. There are pricey, and there are some are really overpowered, but you can just use them in the end game, or if you put on a God Ring mode or something like that. Marry Me Serana. You can also put the other Marry mod, the Marry Almost Anyone, or Live with Serana if you like it, but it's a one go-to, I think, for every Skyrim player out there. Original race heights. For those who grew up with Morrowind, like me, that's a must-have. Well-tamed horses. It not only makes the horses better, but also adds certain things that you can do, like call your horse. They have an inventory, and you can make follower horses, like you can own more horses than just one, and then you can just give that old horse to a follower, and they will mount on that follower and don't just run away behind you when you ride, like, I don't know what. Set for Underworld, Civil War. Because I always thought the Civil War was so boring in Skyrim. Like, every time I started this quest line, I was so bored of it. And this makes it interesting. There are other mods like these bigger battles and everything, but making it a battle between vampires and werewolves is just so much more fun. Then we have the Khajiit Speak mod. If you don't play like a Khajiit, like I do in my playthrough now, I would recommend the Immersive Speech Overhaul, I think it is. It just makes the vanilla dialogue options better, and the Khajiit one will definitely put a fun twist in your gameplay. Immersive merchants, because the merchants don't have really much money on them and not really good stuff to sell, and that fixes that. Prime emotions. They won't just stare at you like the crackhead at the gas station at 3 a.m, you know, like, hello there, Dragonborn, I have a quest for you, and they just stare with you like, I don't know, they have gone through the... you know what I mean. Their faces are really old, and it's not fitting anymore to play like that, in my opinion. When the game came out, it was okay, it's not anymore, and today's games, even Fallout 4, had these facial emotions, or a little bit too much sometimes, if you know what I mean. But that does almost the same thing. Like, you can see if someone is happy or mad, or that fixes that they have emotions now. And it also puts in 2 rings that you can craft, I think. Yeah, you can craft them. Realistic conversations. NPCs now will have good conversations, and it's not this generic old hello, how was your day? Good morning to you, and they don't make any sense like in Oblivion. That fixes that. Immersive Citizen is also compatible, but for those who wonder why their load order always crashes after the first 10 minutes or something, or the game just won't work, nothing you will do work, no matter how you put your load order, it doesn't work. It's because of immersive citizens. It affects so many NPCs that if you have a tiny little nav mesh error somewhere, the game will just crash and you are not even in that place right now. It's just rendering like 10 miles away in a house, and that NPC moves into a bucket that isn't normally there, and it just completely crashes. This is what happens. Or, I don't know, the NPC usually walks to a specific place but can't go there because there's something in the way, like ancient lands, or the bridge is not normal, and the NPC has conflicted with that bridge because usually it's on a horse, but on a horse he can't go there. You know what I mean? With the immersive citizens things, NPCs do realistic things, sure, and it feels more alive somehow, the game, but with the prime emotions and the realistic conversations and combat overalls are also messing with the NPCs. So you have to decide, do you want an immersive playthrough with many different RPG elements, or do you want a good combat system? Because if you want to have a good combat system, you have to get rid of immersive citizens and stuff like that. And one problem with immersive citizens is also, it states there that it doesn't affect extra characters, but I noticed when I used it that it can affect certain extra NPCs. And that's also, I think, game breaking and making the game crash and all of that. Guard dialogue. It's basically the same thing for guards. This is for normal NPCs and this is for guards. Immersive patrols. Well, now people walk around and patrol. It makes sense. Increased population. It's the light version. And since I don't use Immersive Citizen, there is no crash or anything. It just makes, well, the population more increased and more NPCs with names. There are new faces now in Skyrim. And they all talk to each other, and it's refreshing. Multiple follower system necessary if you want to play with a group, and get no more dead followers, because dead followers are annoying. Get no more dead merchants, because dead merchants are annoying. Follower and Villains Ultimate Pack. Here are coming all the follower and pets and all that, but I just use this single one because there are other mods in there, like the Beast and Stranger mod that comes further down, that puts other followers in there, and this is the only one I use. It puts a few heroes and villains through the game. Caro and Scarar, Khajiit Cups. Now I'm going with a Khajiit build. At some point I think I will adopt kids, but I don't want normal kids. I want Khajiit kids because I'm playing a Khajiit, so I need Khajiit kids. Makes sense. one of the best armor mods out there, because you can now have hoods with armor rating and so on. Better unique backpacks. There are 3 different versions. Better unique backpacks, better backpacks, and unique backpacks. And this is the combination of the better and the unique ones. It just makes the backpacks, the adventurer backpack and everything, more immersive and better and more useful, and you don't think, well, it just gives me like 20 stealth or 20 sneaking or 10 stamina. This way you really have something there. Archmage backpack, 0 weight, 50 carry capacity, adds 3 secret spells that you can only use if you wear this backpack. The recolor bundle with everything normal recolored. Craftable everything. Free player home. Don't you hate to grind all these resources for the Hearthfire homes? That's the mod that answers all your questions. Portable tools. Did you ever want to build your own camp somewhere? Like really your own camp? Like you can put storage there, you can make your own little camp with that. First have to craft it, then you have spells and so on. Mystic Condenser, one of the most necessarily mods in my opinion. You know when you have like 20 or 30 little health potions and you think, if I could just, make from 20 little potions 2 big potions. That would be great. Why can't I do it? This mod will make this happen. You can just pour them all together and then have a big bottle instead of 20 little one. Saves you a lot of space in the inventory, and I think it even goes into some crafting thing. The recolored replica. 1100 armor pieces, 700 each weapon, 300 jewelry, and so on. If you have all the creation club things, armors, weapons, you basically have a recolor to everything now. It's a spell in your inventory and it's simple to use, and it's one of the best recolored things out there. Now, Vampire Lord. There are many different versions. I chose the black one, more like Bell, whatever. Various wilds, various dragons. Animals now have variants to them, as well as dragons. The dragons don't have any special effect. There is another mod that does that, that adds special versions of dragons and all of that, but with the beast and stranger mod that's not necessary, and only the texture is really important to change. So that's that. The guard's armor replacer. You can choose a different one if you want, but I think that's one of the best for PS4 and PS5 that's out there. The Imperial soldiers, because the way they look is just not how the Imperial army would look. Kashyyyk ears through helmets. Now this won't only make your ears stick through some helmets and hoods, but also for other Kashyyyk out there. Race menu anytime, it's necessary, otherwise these 2 character edition things don't work. You have to have this mod, go to Dragon's Reach, drop one of these stones, and then you can adjust your character, because in the starting thing, even if you use an alternate starting mode, even if you use the vanilla start, you don't have access to every asset, because these 2 collide with each other and you have to put them in this order to make them work. Okay? Now we come to the textural overhauls. Julia's and Anna's texture overhaul. These are the ones I am using, and I'm using everything and I don't have any problems I ran into. If so, I let you know in a comment down below or in the description or something like that. Like if I find any problems in this load order, I will definitely put it in the description afterwards, okay? So, and if you find any, let me know in the comments, please. Let me know in the comments if you run into any problem, like, let's say you interacted with an item. Tell me in the comments what item that was before you crashed the game, like, I don't know. There was a book and you opened the book and then the game crashed. What book was that? Was that even in the location the book should have spawned? You know what I mean? Stuff like that is important, and that's how you fix the load order. Because it can be that some things may collide or something like that. Like I said, I already played a lot. I think 100 hours or something like that with this load order. But all of Skyrim, with all the new features and everything, I haven't figured out everything. Because there are still so many new things. It's basically a new game. New grass. You can also use dense grass and new grass combined, but for me, dense grass is... I don't like that. I don't like it. It's not fitting for Skyrim. I don't like the faded, dark tundra thing, so I just go with the normal new grass green Skyrim. The Great Immersion Overhaul mod. 4.64 megabyte. This will change the game from the ground up. I can just scroll through here really quick to show you what's it about. It hasn't been updated since forever, but I guarantee you it still works. It's still compatible with all the mods and all that. It works perfect. There are other overhaul mods, but they don't do the same thing as this does. I tested 4 different overhaul mods over the years, and this is my favorite one. Beast Strange Magic Bundle. This adds a lot of stuff. It also makes vampires now burn in the daylight, and also changes dragons, it changes everything. It changes the whole world experience with that together. If you put Beast and Strange above that, it won't work, okay? It overwrites it in a bad way and it will crash a lot. So you have to put it like that. Now, you have like different DNAs that you can add to your gameplay. You can go to the tanning rack and craft those books like Citizens of Skyrim. Then you can read that, and this will activate certain buffs and debuffs in the game. It makes for a better immersive experience, role-playing experience, or whatever you want to call it. It changes like everything from ground up again. These two mods with the other magic mods combined make the genre and the combat overall make the whole game feel different, because you have certain items and magic things. There's even a magic things for witches, where you can like, you don't have really mana, but it works. You can cast spells, but it works differently. And I think you can't even go into cities anymore because you're a witch and have a certain pact with something. It's complicated. Like, this adds many things together. Before you download this mod disable compass functions. It doesn't. With this load order, it doesn't. These are all the different things. The Strange Magic sequel, Beast Reversed Vampirism, which means if you feed more, the daylight doesn't hurt you as much. And if you don't feed for a few days, you lose power and The daylight will hurt you, and as longer as you go without blood, the less you can stay in the sun. Like if you're a level 1 vampire, you just die in like 2 seconds after leaving the door. So, 5 or more years of constant updates. I followed this mod for a long time, and I had all the different updates installed and all of that, so I know a few things. There are many secret chests and amulets and buffs and debuffs and obtainable things and followers, and it really puts a whole new depth into the game. Like it doesn't feel like you're playing this old game that you played the last 10 years. It's like playing a new kind of Skyrim in some way. Some people say, oh yeah, Xbox and PC have just better mods and everything. That's true, because they can use external assets and they have better graphics, but it's still possible to make kind of a new game with all these mods combined. And like I said, I tested and tweaked for years on the PS4, and now that I'm on the PS5 and can make high quality videos, then on the PS4 will also make videos about that. This is why I'm going to put these load thing out, load order, because I know someone will ask me, hey, what's your load order? Can you make a video? And I can be like, ha, look at that, I already made it. So anyway, going back. Since this changes so many things, it changes also the combat AI and everything, stats. And like I said, I think 3 or 4 times by now, you have to put it in this order, otherwise it won't work. Okay? Good. Beast, Strange and Magic. Adamant. Well, perks, you know? Changes the perks. Immersive movement makes the movement more immersive. Amazing race tweaks. Put whatever your race you play, but keep in mind that every NPC race will have the same buffs. Ethereus, race overall. Mundus, the standing stone overall. Destruction perks makes the destruction perk tree really interesting. Realm of Lorkhan, my favorite custom start mod. Simple survival, eat, drink, sleep, because I don't like the normal survival mod and I don't like the survival mod of the Great Immersion overall, so I'm using the simple one. And last but not least, the interior lighting overall mod. I think I have everything covered now, everything a little bit explained, and I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll give this load order definitely a try, because like I said so many times by now, it will completely change the experience of you playing the PS4 or PS5 version of this game. But you have to really put it in this order, and if you come across any bugs or crashes, let me know in the comments when it happened and what happened, and we may be able to figure it out together, you know? Find a solution to it. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.